Nick here with more board game content on Tabletop Duo, and today we're going to be doing the review of the Forbidden Woods expansion for Bloodborne the board game. But before we start, if you're new to Tabletop Duo, we do board game reviews, unboxing, and also how to play videos. And eventually we also do some video game unboxing and reviews as well. And if you're new to our channel, consider subscribing so you can get the latest board game reviews, unboxing, and how to play videos. And hit the bell button as well so that whenever a new video comes out, you receive a notification right away. Alright, so to start our review, I'm going to be talking about the contents of the box. So in this expansion you get 5 new enemies. You get 2 new bosses to play. You also get 2 new campaigns and 1 bonus chapter that you can use in any other campaign that you're playing. You get 12 new tiles, a few new items, as well as dark rites, which are used in the campaign. So let's start first talking about the tiles themselves. You get 12 new tiles, and those tiles, one thing that's really cool is that a lot of them have 4 spaces in which you can move around. So I think it adds a little bit of more strategy as you're playing. Contrary to if you play the base game, you have a lot of tiles that have 2 spaces or 3 spaces, right? So they are thematic. There are some really interesting ones, for example, like the mud pit, which is a tile made for the man-eater boar. And then basically the man-eater boar stays in this tile, well, most of the times. And it's the only enemy that spawns, so they try to add some uniqueness to some of the tiles. Now let's talk a little bit about the enemies. So for the enemies, you get, like I said, 5 new enemies. They are pretty cool. Like it's basically the enemies you would find in the game when you go through the Forbidden Woods. The man-eater boar, like I said before, it's pretty interesting. Has 8 health points. It's a little bit strong. It has some mechanics where it tries to ram over the characters and deal damage. Then you have the snake ball, snake parasite, Hamwick, grave woman. Oh, I'm forgetting also about the mad one. Yeah, and you have the mad one as well, which is this one. One thing that I find interesting about the snake ball and the snake parasite is that their attacks are based. There's a lot of poison attacks, so you have to be very careful when you're fighting them. But at the same time, some of the enemies like the Hamwick, grave woman, and the snake ball, they have only 3 health points, which mean that you can kill them pretty fast. So you might not even see the poison or receive the poison, because if you're playing well, you just ram them over. The snake parasite has 4 health points, so it requires a little bit more strategy to one-shot it, but you just have to be watching out for poison and also stun the attacks. A lot of the enemies do stun as well. You're going to be playing the expansion mostly with the enemies of the expansion on the tiles of the expansion. Sometimes in some missions they will add enemies from the vanilla game, or just say you can add enemies from any expansion. So adds a little bit more variety, but I find that when you're playing the campaign mostly with enemies that belong only to the expansion, it's not that interesting because you don't have a lot of variety. So although they are new, as soon as you play the chapter 1 and you get back to play chapter 2 and chapter 3 of one campaign, you're gonna be seeing the same enemies, and then it becomes stale very fast. So I wish they would have mixed a little bit more the encounters, so you have different enemies. Talking about the campaigns. So you have the 2 new campaigns, the Dark Rites, and the other one is the Den of Vipers. On Dark Rites, you're going to be fighting the Witch of Hamwick, and on Den of Vipers, you're going to be fighting the Shadows of Yharnam. The campaigns are interesting. They add some cool elements, like they play a lot with the man-eater boar, where in some cases the man-eater boar can kind of get loose, and they are always chasing the player on the board, which changes a little bit the dynamic, so that's pretty cool. They have some unique types of missions that you have to do as well, and objectives that you have to achieve. One thing particularly that we dislike is that when you're playing Den of Vipers, one of the first rewards you get, the name of the rune that you should get does not exist in the game. So you have to go into forums to try to figure out like what keyword are they talking about, because they have written the wrong name. Sometimes they also mention some tiles that don't exist or have a slightly different name. So there's a few issues there. And then you have the Forbidden Woods bonus chapter. That one I find it interesting because when you're playing the vanilla and you add this chapter, you're going to be fighting the enemies from the expansion. So then I think it's going to be interesting because you're fighting like all of those vanilla enemies, and then at some point some new enemies get introduced, which I think adds more variety to your playthrough, right? So that I think it's really cool. The bonus chapter is also played on the new tile, so you will see a differentiation between like just playing the vanilla game with the vanilla tiles and then using the Forbidden Woods tiles. There are no new hunters on this expansion, and the models, they look pretty cool. I think the snake ball in particular looks amazing. The man-eater boar as well, it looks amazing. Mariana can't wait to paint them. I think they look really good. All right, so now let's talk about if you should buy or not this expansion. In my point of view, I think you should. First, because you have 5 new enemies, you have 2 new campaigns with a bonus chapter as well. You have 2 new bosses, so it will add more gameplay time in the Bloodborne universe. So I like that. It's also a limited print expansion, so if you don't buy as soon as possible, at some point it's going to be hard to find and they will be very pricey. I like that the expansion comes with new tiles, and a lot of the new tiles have 4 spaces that you can play. So overall, I think it's a good expansion. It's an expansion that you're gonna enjoy playing. I just think that you should probably mix and like play one campaign from the expansion, then play one vanilla campaign, and try to swap around the campaigns from different expansions. Because if you play just one of the expansions, like if you play just this expansion, I think you will get kind of bored in terms of challenge pretty quick, because you're facing the same enemies, with the exceptions of fewer vanilla enemies that they add as you're playing the game. So now I would like to hear your thoughts about the expansion. Is it an expansion that you're planning to buy? From the review here, are there some points that they're not clarified and you would like me to answer to you? Like, just leave some comments below and then I will be gladly answering them for you. And if you want to check the unboxing to see all the game contents on details, you can just click on the link in the video's description or just above, because I will add a link here. Coming up next, we're going to be checking the Castle Cainhurst expansion, which I will be doing an unboxing and also a review. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys had fun, and see you next time.